Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the preview for the 2021 Mexico City Grand Prix, which is for the first time powered by Motorsport Network and Motorsport Images. And guess what? It is the final triple header of the season. It could, likely will be a huge 3 weeks in the battle for the title. And I know I say this every single week, but I'm an F1 fan, so it should be fairly obvious, but I cannot wait for this one. And it is so good to see F1 back in Mexico. I'll tell you what else as well. With Checo in a Red Bull, the atmosphere at that track could be absolutely incredible. Oh, I reckon this is going to be a good one. But anyway, let's kick things off as we always do with a look at the usual round of track stats and everything that follows. So last time out, F1 was of course racing in the USA at COTA, but now it's on to Mexico for the first time since 2019 and somewhat unbelievably for the 18th round of the 2021 season. The event has a new name, but the venue is the same. That's obviously going to be a new catchphrase, never mind. So a lap of the Autodromo Jimenez Rodriguez runs for 4.304 kilometres. That is 2.674 miles, if that's what you prefer to work in. And features 17 corners. That is 7 to the left and 10 to the right. And come Sunday, we are set to see a total of 71 racing laps. This weekend, there will be three DRS zones to help with overtaking. The first runs down much of the start-finish straight. The second is between turns 3 and 4, and the third between turns 11 and 12. So hopefully, with those three DRS zones, we will see plenty of side-by-side action on Sunday. The race lap record is held by Valtteri Bottas, who posted a 1:18.741 back in 2018, but the fastest ever lap of the circuit is a 1:14.758, and that was set by Max Verstappen during qualifying in 2019. However, despite that being the fastest time during the session, the Dutchman did not start from pole position for the race as he was handed a 3-place grid penalty for failing to slow for yellow flags, which meant that pole position was handed to Charles Leclerc instead. He couldn't convert that into victory though, thanks in part to a very slow second pit stop over 6 seconds. Instead, it was Lewis Hamilton who took the win, leading home Sebastian Vettel by just 1.7 seconds with the second Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas in third. Leclerc did though take the point for fastest lap with a 1:19.232. And don't forget, of course, Hamilton and Verstappen made a little bit of contact with each other on lap 1 at turn 2. Contact which saw both drivers cut across the grass and lose places. They were both able to continue. Although Max later came into contact with the other Mercedes, didn't he, after a dive bomb on Bottas at the stadium hairpin, resulting in his rear tyre catching the front wing end fence of the Merc. And that left the Dutchman with a puncture. Enough about all of that though, let's start looking ahead to this weekend, and yes, it is time to talk tyres. The compounds available for this weekend are the same as they were in the US, and that is middle of the Pirelli range, which means they are, say it with me, the hard C2, the medium C3 and the soft C4. That's the same selection, by the way, as in 2019. But because the cars have changed and indeed the compounds aren't exactly identical, the data from that last race in Mexico may not be totally relevant, although it will still be very useful. So with that in mind, the winning strategy last time was a medium to hard one-stopper. In fact, that was the same for the top 3, with 7 other drivers trying a 2-stopper, including 4th and 5th place Leclerc and Albon. Leclerc, by the way, was just 6.3 seconds off the lead come the end. So if someone can find a bit more pace and get some moves done, a 2-stopper could still work well. The circuit is mostly unchanged with just a small bit of resurfacing just before turn 1 to level out a bump, but drivers can still expect a lack of grip early in the weekend as there has not been a lot of running at the track since the last time F1 visited. And there is also an interesting line in Pirelli's press release. Well, I found it interesting anyway, so I thought I'd pass it on. It says that although the cars will run with high levels of downforce due to the altitude to, quote, try and generate aerodynamic grip through the corners, in reality, the downforce effect is extremely minimized, which can lead to some sliding. And of course, if the cars are sliding around, that will impact tyre wear and therefore could dictate strategy. Another thing that could dictate strategy is the safety car. From the last 5 races in Mexico, we have seen at least one either full safety car or virtual safety car, with the safety car itself being deployed in 2015 and 2016, with the races in 2017, 18 and 19 each having a single VSC period. Weather-wise, it is set to be a warm and sunny weekend. The forecast at time of recording is for sunny spells throughout Friday with highs of 22 degrees. And if you're wondering about rain, there is a less than 5% chance of anything falling. It is a very similar story for Saturday, to be fair, although it is expected to be a little bit brighter, so basically a bit less cloud cover. And on Sunday, it is currently forecast to be, honestly, more or less the same with, again, a less than 5% chance of a shower. So, based on how things sometimes can go when I do the weather part of this preview, expect heavy snow and Arctic temperatures. I mean, what a weekend that would be, but no, don't expect snow at all. Let's have a look at the schedule for the weekend, and it's another weekend of evening sessions for me here in the UK, and I'm very happy about that. FP1 will start the weekend off as usual with a 1-hour session that starts at 5:30pm GMT, with FP2 getting going from 9pm. FP3 on Saturday is from 5pm with qualifying underway at 8pm, and it is lights out for the race on Sunday at 7pm, and again that is in UK time. Still to come, I'll go over some fast facts and make some predictions, but before that I've got a few news stories to quickly go over ahead of this weekend. And by the way, this is being recorded on Wednesday afternoon, so if there is anything worth a mention, like engine penalties or something like that, I'll pop a link to an article in the description and pinned in the comments. But anyway, Valtteri Bottas reckons that Mercedes should be stronger this weekend than they have been in the past in Mexico. Now, the high altitude has tended to equalise engine performance over the years, which has often hit Mercedes negatively and allowed other manufacturers to close the gap. But whilst the Finn accepts the track has been a weak point for the team in the past, he feels that the progress made with the engine should see the team be more competitive this year, adding, quote, "I think we've been able to optimise a lot, so I would expect us to be in a better place than in the recent years." Despite some optimism though, Bottas does still fully expect Red Bull to be tough to beat in Mexico. Ferrari boss Mattia Binotto is confident the team can have even more of an edge over McLaren this weekend. That recent engine upgrade they bought has given the Scuderia a boost, and Binotto is confident that because Mexico is less power sensitive and his cars will be running with the maximum downforce package this weekend could favour Ferrari more than in Austin last time out. The Circuit of the Americas being a track that on paper, according to Binotto, should not have suited the Scuderia and should have played to the strengths of the McLaren. But they still came away with a very strong result, Leclerc taking 4th and Sainz 7th. Binotto says he is pleased as a result of that about the progress the team has made, especially with the power unit, and that, quote, gives me some confidence for the next races. Despite a raft of engine changes for Mercedes-powered cars across the last few races, Williams' head of vehicle performance, Dave Robson, does not believe that the altitude in Mexico or indeed Brazil will result in any concerns around reliability. In the team's press release, though, Robson does say that the altitude will have significant implications for the cooling systems as well as other areas including tyre behaviour, but the team will spend Friday confirming that the car is, quote, healthy in the low air density before moving on to investigating tyre performance and setup. Bearing in mind, by the way, that Toto Wolff said in the US that the manufacturer has been facing some reliability issues that keep coming back, it's just something worth keeping an eye on over the weekend. This wouldn't be the worst place for some teams to take engine penalties if they are needed. And finally for this part, Michael Massey has confirmed the stewards will continue to use the lap time deletion process for double-waved yellows this weekend. The system, which was trialled for the first time last time out in Austin, sees lap times get deleted automatically during practice and qualifying if any driver passes through a double-waved yellow flag zone. Massey says that the system worked well in the US, although only Kimi Raikkonen lost the time, and that was during FP3. And whilst there are still, quote, a few back-of-house processes to try and speed up that system, the FIA will be sticking with it and have the support of the drivers as well. Right then, time to run through some fast facts courtesy, as ever, of Lights Out Blog. Thank you very much to those guys over there. You can check out the site, link in the description as always. There has been a total of 20 F1 races held at the circuit, although the layout has changed a lot since it played host to its first race in 1963. Over the years, 15 different drivers have taken victory, with Jim Clark taking the first and Lewis Hamilton the most recent. 14 different drivers have taken pole position, with Jim Clark holding the record for the most with 4 to his name. I've mentioned it a lot already in this video, but the track is at the highest altitude of any other this season and sits over 2,200 metres above sea level. And I've got to mention this one, surely. All the way back in 1992, Michael Schumacher took his first ever F1 podium, securing 3rd place for Benetton in Mexico, finishing just over 21 seconds behind the Williams duo of Nigel Mansell and Riccardo Patrese. And last but by no means least, it is time for some predictions. As always, I really wouldn't take these too seriously. And if you disagree with my picks, then you can let me know yours in the comment section down below. Always good to read how much we disagree. As we've seen so often this season, the form book is fairly irrelevant, I think it's fair to say. What I mean is, just because a team has gone well at a track in the past, it doesn't necessarily mean they will this year. Take Paul Ricard for an example. Mercedes stronghold ahead of 2021, Red Bull winning 2021. You get my point. However, all of that said, that and recent form is pretty much all we really have to go off for these, and on paper, this one should favour Red Bull. I don't think they are going to have it all their own way though. In fact, I'm actually going to plump for Hamilton for pole, pipping Verstappen to it by, let's say, less than a tenth. In the race, though, I do genuinely think Red Bull will have the edge, and so I'm reversing that and saying Verstappen for the win with Hamilton not too far behind in second. And I want to say Perez for P3. Actually, I want to say Checo for pole in the win, because could you imagine the atmosphere if he did that? But honestly, I don't think he'll have enough to beat those top two. As we've seen before, if Verstappen and Hamilton are flat out, it's tough to see anyone getting anywhere near them. I know some of you might find those boring, but they're my realistic ones. As for some bolder predictions, I'm not really sure, to be honest. Ferrari are confident they will have the edge over McLaren, but it's just so close between them. So if there is some drama at the front and that opens up the possibility of a podium or even a win for other teams, I said Leclerc for a win last time out, so I'll go with Sainz for this one with a shock top 3 from Alonso, a totally unrealistic but you never know point for Mick Schumacher, and a top 5 finish for Ocon. Maybe the altitude will help the power unit in the back of that Alpine or something, I don't know. Assuming no drama though, so based on pace alone, I think Ferrari will be outsiders for a podium, and my one to watch this weekend is obviously Sergio Perez. It is, after all, his home Grand Prix. He seems to be finding form as well now the setup is heading in the way that he wants it to, and I reckon he could honestly have a very strong weekend. But overall, all in all, whatever you want to say, I cannot wait for this one. Shock horror. Sean's excited about racing. It's terrible, I know. That is it for this week's preview then, but you can, as always, let me know your thoughts and your predictions ahead of the weekend in the comments section down below. So as always, who have you got for pole position on Saturday? Who do you think will win on Sunday? And who are you keeping an eye on this weekend? What's your top 3? Lots of questions there. Now, I will be back live on Sunday with the Mexico race reaction. In the meantime, though, if you did enjoy this one, then please do leave a like, as it really does help out the channel. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future uploads or streams. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.